Hello students, we continue studying the 7th chapter of history, that is an imperial capital, Vijayanagara. In this module, we will study the sacred center in the Vijayanagara, the Virupaksha temple, the Vitthala temple, and floating or locating palaces, temples and bazaars in Vijayanagar. First, we study about the sacred center in Vijayanagara. According to local tradition, the hills near the sacred center sheltered the monkey kingdom of Vali and Sugriva mentioned in the Ramayana. Other traditions suggest that Pamba Devi, the local mother goddess, did penance in these hills in order to marry Virupaksha, the guardian deity of the kingdom, who is recognized as a form of Lord Shiva. Among these hills are found Jaina temples of the pre-Vijayanagara period as well. In other words, this area was associated with several sacred traditions such as the Pallavas, Chalukyas, Hoysalas and Cholas. Rulers very often encourage temple building as a means of associating themselves with the divine. Temples also functioned as centers of learning. Rulers granted land and other resources for the maintenance of temples. Temples developed as significant religious, social, cultural, and economic centers. From the point of view of the rulers, constructing, repairing, and maintaining temples were important means of winning support and recognition for their power, wealth, and piety. The Vijayanagara kings claimed to rule on behalf of the god Virupaksha. All royal orders were signed Sri Virupaksha, usually in the Kannada script. Rulers also indicated their close links with the gods by using the title Hindu Suratrana. This meant Hindu Sultan. The Raya Gopurams or royal gateways that often dwarfed the towers on the gateways, which signaled the presence of the temple from a great distance. They were also probably meant as reminders of the power of kings, able to command the resources, techniques, and skills needed to construct these towering gateways. Other distinctive features include mandapas or pavilions and long pillared corridors that often run around the shrines within the temple complex. A characteristic feature of the temple complexes is the chariot streets that extended from the temple gopuram in a straight line. These streets were paved with stone slabs and lined with the pillared pavilions in which merchants set up their shops. The Virupaksha temple was built in the 9th-10th centuries. The hall in front of the main shrine was built by Krishnadevaraya to mark his accession. He is also credited with the construction of the eastern Gopuram, which made the central small. The halls in the temple were used for a variety of purposes. Some were spaces in which the image of gods were placed to witness special programs of music, dance, drama, etc. Others were used to celebrate the marriage of deities, and yet others were meant for the deities to swing in. The Vitthala temple. The Vitthala temple, the principal deity was Vitthala, a form of Vishnu generally worshipped in Maharashtra. The introduction of the worship of the deity in Karnataka is another indication of the ways in which the rulers of Vijayanagara accepted different traditions. As in the case of other temples, this temple too has several halls. This temple has a unique feature that the main shrine is designed like a chariot, plotting or locating palaces, temples, and bazaars in Vijayanagar. After the initial surveys by Colin Mackenzie, information was pieced together from travelers' accounts and inscriptions. Through the 20th century, the site of Vijayanagara was preserved by the Archaeological Survey of India and the Karnataka Department of Archaeology and Museums. In 1976, Hampi was recognized as a site of national importance. In 1980s, an important project was launched to document the material remains at Vijayanagara in detail through extensive and intensive surveys by using a variety of recording techniques. One of such techniques was mapping. The first step of mapping was to divide the entire area into a set of 25 squares, each designated by a letter of the alphabet. Then each of the small squares was subdivided into a set of even smaller squares. Each of these smaller squares was further subdivided into yet smaller units. These detailed surveys have been extremely painstaking and have recovered and documented traces of thousands of structures from tiny shrines and residences to elaborate temples. It is worth remembering that John M. Fritz, George Michel, and M.S. Nagaraj Rao, who worked for years at the site to discover many important aspects of Vijayanagara.